Welcome to DuckCast, a special episode where we're going to talk about Endgame, and I'm just going to say right off the bat, even though it should be common sense, we're going to spoil it. And I got to say it now, because I don't know if we're going to do it within the first minute or not. Like, it's...
Oh, no. Well, first I want to talk about something completely irrelevant from Endgame. If anyone's here for Endgame, this is more of a chill kind of thing anyway. I feel like... I've talked to Mike about this before. I'd really like this to be as chill as possible. If we have differences of opinions of anything, we should be respectful to each other and whatnot, because the other's excited about one of these things and some of these things, and it's like, not be excited.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the kind of movie where I can almost even if I do disagree with someone strongly on something, it's the kind of movie that's such a special moment that I can kind of forgive any person saying that they want to look past what I consider a problem completely, because when you do time travel, there's a ton of holes that you open.
I love anything that involves time travel, though. It's so stupid and has all these plot holes, but it's perfect because you can't. It's useless to try to argue and complain about all these things. It's just
there's a few that I want to bring up because but it's more so I
have something I'm going to mention probably, but it's just fun. It's still fun. Whatever, it's the MCU.
No, I'm not. I really liked Endgame, but anyway, let's
also, I was saying this because just for anyone that's coming into this video being like, okay, these guys are going to get down and dirty, I don't know. I can't even think. I was going to say John Campia. I don't know if he does exactly.
I actually like parts that a lot of people say they don't like. I'll explain very early on where
I think some negative things I've heard about the movie, I'm sort of maybe in the middle on, and some things I could see where they're coming from, but I also see... I don't know, we'll get to them. Anyway, I want to say something completely irrelevant. Earlier today, I was out at lunch with my own family and my sister's boyfriend's family. And my sister's boyfriend has a little sister, and she had her iPad out at the time, and she was playing this YouTube video she made. She makes these little slime gooey things that, I don't know, they make these noises and everything. And my sister was saying that she's put these videos out on YouTube and they've gone over 300,000 views, legit.
What the hell?
And I was saying to my mom and to my sister, and I'm like, I have a friend named Mike who spends hours on one video, like a review or something, where he'll take his time, do his research, do everything, spend hours, spend weeks on one video, and it barely even scratches 100 views. Now there's this 7 or 8 year old little girl makes these little slime things, just mushes them on the camera from what I heard, and gets over hundreds of thousands of views. I'm like, stupid algorithm, man. I think it's the algorithm. I think that's just
algorithm. You can say some things about, but I mean, truthfully, I love making those videos. That's why I do it. But I mean, I don't really want to watch some random person who doesn't, who I don't know, review Glass for 30 minutes. I understand. I don't really want to sometimes something will get my attention and I'll end up really liking it, much to my surprise. But I mean, there's so much content just like mine that I'll never see for the same reason.
I just find it hilarious though, a 7 or 8 year old girl's video of her just playing around with the slime stuff can get this many views, and yours just barely scratches the surface.
That's why you gotta doing it. That's really all it comes down to. Realistically, I think I understand enough about YouTube and its algorithm to where I could probably do something that... I mean, I'm not saying I could become this big YouTube sensation easily, but I feel like I could probably do a better job of attracting people to my channel. I don't think it would be difficult to get more people on board, but it's just I don't know, I don't really think I'm ever going to do this career-wise. So.
I think a lot of people know one of the bigger answers of that being consistency, which is kind of a difficult thing to even achieve, honestly.
Yeah, I mean,
especially when you don't make any income off of YouTube and you do from your other jobs, and you need to spend your time with those other jobs.
For sure.
Consistency is kind of an impossible thing, of course.
that is funny, though. Yeah. It's just
I thought of you immediately. I was telling my family about you. I'm like, no, Mike's probably, if I told him about this, he'd hate it. But,
I don't care.
It was just a laugh. I mean, laugh, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
no. Yeah. It's just funny.
I get how it is, though. I'm self-aware of it. And, I could, But yeah, no, I don't really know. But yeah, that is funny though.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's talk about each act.
Yeah, I want to do that because like, here's the thing.
Skip forward, back and forth, and be all over the place.
The most common thing I keep hearing people say, like I watch a lot of critics online,
okay,
and I've really gone into every single one of them. I even tried to watch Richie's review.
I didn't.
Which is an hour and 30 minutes long, and 20 minutes in, he had done nothing but talk about what happened in the movie without expressing an opinion, so I got out of it. I gave him 20 minutes, and he was just saying, this happened, then this happened, then this happened, then this happened, then this happened. It's like, this isn't really a review, Richie. Yeah. This is you describing the movie scene by scene. Maybe there was like a review portion in the last 10 minutes. I don't know. But
I like that he still thinks he can possibly get his viewers back. It's cute.
I like, it's such an innocent thing to do. Like, he just wanted to talk about a movie he was excited about, and that's fine. It's just, I wasn't really seeing the
is this main channel material is the real question. I'm just,
yeah,
it's weird.
But this became shit on Rich Alvarez again.
Every time, man. Gotta happen.
I forgot to say, did you see the new Let's Cook last time? Because there was a new episode right before we recorded last time. But anyway.
I don't watch the show, dude. You're the bigger fan than I
am. I know, man. I always say it, though. I always say, have you watched it?
I mean...
That was an old running joke on DuckCast, and I haven't said it in a while.
I still never even watched the older episodes. I mean, you just kind of told me about them anyways.
I know. That's a joke. It's the most uninteresting thing I could possibly bring up to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's what I kept hearing people say is that it's like way too slow for the first 2 hours and the last hour is really good. And I don't agree with that. My whole stance of the 3 acts, and we'll talk about act by act, but just an abridged version of my thoughts is Act 1 is really slow, but I actually really enjoyed it. I liked seeing where all these characters went. I thought the first 20 minutes was really cool. I like what they do with Thanos. Like, I like how they kill him off right away.
Mm-hmm. Like, completely losing hope right away, and like finding that path to get hope back.
That scene with like Thor walking off after chopping up the head and like basically losing everything gave me freaking like goosebumps. Yeah. Like, it was a really like I was like almost like expecting, like, is he going to be kind of like a villain in this movie? Because he just kind of snapped at this point, and they go in a very different direction with him.
I saw it definitely as like, this is like a downward spiral from him. I didn't think it was going to get to the point that it got to him, which we'll get to eventually, but yeah. And
I also and then like I liked seeing where all the characters were. I did. And then Act 2, I like the time travel stuff a lot at first. It really is just an hour of fan service, I feel, but like that's okay for a movie like this.
Act 1 for right now?
Oh no, I just want to give my abridged opinion of the whole thing. But I just felt like the time travel shit went on way too long. Like, I did get really tired of it. I know not everyone had that issue, but I did. And then the final act is like, the final act makes it like a film that's going to go down in history. Like, this is like our generation's A New Hope, Yeah, like it's something that people like 50 years from now are going to say, okay, could you imagine what it would have been like to see Endgame in theaters, Yeah,
opening day.
I think they'll say that about Avengers and Infinity War as well. I think Age of Ultron probably not, but we'll see. That's actually one thing.
I love the idea of like a serialized story with the budget of a cinematic film, but like doing many of them for like 10 plus years. It's just crazy. It's such a wild idea.
So we'll stick to Act 1. What made Act 1 stay fun for me is, yes, it is like there's like very little action in it. There's a little bit, but it's kept to a very big minimum. It's just like showing these characters' lives. But like, I felt like they had enough new stuff to put on the screen to where it was interesting. Like, Paul Rudd basically joining the Avengers. Paul Rudd, like Ant-Man, basically joining the Avengers, was there. I don't know what everyone else thinks about this. I, honest to God, love what they did with Bruce and the Hulk, and then Thor. Like, let's
talk about that then. For both Thor and Hulk, I'm very mixed. It's like I like the joke about him at first, and then as it goes on, like, first of all, I gotta say, like, the work that they did with Professor Hulk, visually, it's very eye twisting. It's a lot of fun to watch him. Just how well they did it. He looks really good.
They do it like, super well.
It's like introducing this new character, and they do it in this way. It's like, at first it's kind of funny, but I don't know. It's like
it works both comedically, but it's a good conclusion for him.
I wouldn't say
because he's kind of having that battle back and forth between him and the Hulk. Like
I'd say him and Thor aren't really done yet. They haven't been concluded as much. They're still going to continue with them. I feel like for sure.
Possibly.
It doesn't feel like an ending for him just yet.
Yeah, I would hope that they don't like do too much else with the Hulk, because honestly, I'm happy with that as a conclusion. To me, he's like, as much as I like Mark Ruffalo in those movies, to me, the Hulk is just a silly character. It's a silly idea, and that kind of ending is perfect for him. Like, that's a very fitting ending. He also always felt like a side character to me.
I'll kind of admit, like, I was kind of disappointed, like, the fact that when we got Professor Hulk introduced, it was just, okay, here he is. Like, it wasn't much of a showing how it happened, even though I know it didn't need it. Like, it's still, because I was expecting it from Infinity War, like this big build up, like, and people were upset, like, oh, Hulk was in Infinity War. It's like they're leading up to this thing, don't worry. And I'm like, then we get an Endgame and we just see him, and it's like, okay.
I was perfectly fine with that, honestly. Like,
I'm like half and half,
because I didn't see it coming, so it got like a really funny reaction from me, like, okay, how long are they going to do this? How long is he going to look like this? This is ridiculous. And then he's that the entire movie.
I do like for the first time that this is Bruce Banner with superpowers, though. Like, it was always like this whole other personality just taking over. Which also I kind of feel sad for, like, Hulk. Like, I feel like this is less of a compromise for the Hulk. Because, like, he's not really in control at all here.
But like, but the Hulk doesn't... The Hulk didn't have a strong personality. He's just angry. He, like, feels miserable all the time. And he smashes things.
Have you seen Thor Ragnarok yet?
Yes, I did, actually.
Yeah.
I finally sat down and watched it like a week. Me and Pinsak watched it, and Infinity War right after we did it. Ragnarok and Infinity War back to back right before going to see Endgame. Yeah. Like a week in advance. And I'm really glad I watched Ragnarok, because I feel like that added a lot of like needed context to Bruce. I feel like, I really have followed Bruce Banner's entire story. I didn't watch his first movie, but I know what the character is, and there's enough context in Avengers of what his situation is. I really liked what they did with him. Thor,
Thor at first for a few seconds was funny. I feel like at some point, like, they were going to like do this thing and then get him back on his feet sooner than never. And what they did was kind of never. I'm kind of okay in the end compared to most people's negative opinions on Thor right now, because like he kind of became his father by the end of the third act. He looks with the beard braided and just everything. When he's charging into battle, he's Odin now. He's his dad.
Yeah,
it's this great character development for him. However, he did get his ass beat a lot. This power up, as it looked, wasn't really a power up. He got his ass kicked by Thanos big time compared to Infinity War. They depowered him a lot. And what was I going to say? I don't think that's something to disagree with. He really did get depowered, but it was still great to see him like this. But and like personality wise, I feel like he still got some more growing to do as a character. Like, which is why I also disagree. Like, he's not done entirely yet, his story, because they kind of they set him back a bit with this movie.
With Thor, I don't know. It's just it's just kind of like the collapse of his character. I feel I feel like some of the humor with him got a little old on me, but I was okay with this for the direction they took with him. Like, because they did like kind of show that he lost everything. He is a badass at the very beginning of the movie. Very short lived, granted, and then after that he just completely lets his life go to shit because they feel like he's done everything he can do. And then when he joins back up with them, like he's kind of just served as comic relief for a bit.
He's a joke.
At a point, there came a point where I didn't think it was funny anymore.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, like I get it. The joke is he's kind of pathetic now.
He's the bum now. He left the group, yeah.
Yeah, but they do.
I love Tony Stark's little Big Lebowski name call. That was nice. That was exactly.
I do think in the final hour of the movie, though, like, he's struggling in battle, but I do think he has like a really cool fight scene.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it looks really cool. It's just it's a shame he's not as. I agree that. I understand that, like, it puts him aside for everyone else that comes in during the third act after to fight off against Thanos anyway. But
I am glad that
it would have been great to have Thor looking like that, but still being as powerful and like him with the Stormbreaker in Infinity War was able to, that one beam when Thanos got all the Infinity Stones, he like shoots a beam at Thanos, at Thor when he's charging at him with the Stormbreaker.
Yeah.
He's just able to phase through all that. He's like, yeah, I'm a god, whatever. Yeah. And it's like in here he's very depowered. He's like, the Stormbreaker's about to pierce through his chest and everything. He's like, I'm having a hard time here, even though that introduced a great scene afterwards. But
yeah. Oh my god, we'll talk about that. I saw that coming, but I did like that a lot. To me, that one moment just makes Age of Ultron worth it.
Oh yeah, that callback was amazing.
Because I really don't like Age of Ultron. I like the scene where they all try to lift the hammer.
That was the one scene I was this close to like going woo over. Like that was it's crazy.
Other than that, like Hawkeye's kind of cool in Age of Ultron. But I actually really don't like that movie. Like I thought it was really boring. I thought it was really bad.
Let's go back to the first act of this.
Yeah.
Let's knock it out.
But but it made it worth. I'm just saying it made that like moment alone made Age of Ultron kind of worth it to me, just because like that was a nice little thing to cut back to, because it was such a subtle, it was such a small part of that movie, it's such a small part of this entire universe, and it comes full circle there.
For sure,
it's a good detail. Back to the first act.
What did you think of, like, I remember watching the first act and thinking there's a bit too many jokes in here. I can't remember too many of like ones to just pick out, but like I remember during
depends on the character.
I know.
Like, it just, some of the characters have always kind of been like, their lives have always been kind of shitty, so they've always had a sense of humor. Like, you know, like Rocket, for example, who I think I like that they put a Guardians character in the movie. Like, they didn't kill off all of them, but he does feel like weirdly out of place to me the entire time.
Really?
I like Rocket felt pointless to me. It's kind of, I get it when they kind of pair him and Thor up for the second time.
I think it was more like, it kind of goes hand in hand with that speech that Tony says at the very end, the voiceover, where it's like he says like it's this universe now, and like he's just kind of like showing, like, you know, representing the space part of the MCU a bit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
For sure.
Just this oddness. That's,
It is interesting too. It's just like, I guess what it is, and I guess that's part of like what you're supposed to feel when watching this, is just how off everything is. Like, because all these people are gone, like these are not the people that you're used to seeing Rocket interact with. So his like chemistry with them is like super off. But I guess that's intentional, you know.
I really love Nebula in this movie, by the way. Her character.
Yeah, she's one of the ones I have some issues with. I like her personality-wise.
I was watching a thing right before this. They were talking about Endgame and like how like that first scene with her and Tony Stark playing that little game, and like that one little line when like her response after Tony like says "fun," right? And she's like, "Yes, fun." Like she's starting to like understand like what fun is, like someone that had like a past like hers, and she's now someone that's like literally about to die is like just showing her a fun time before he goes, and like she's never felt that sort of kindness before. Like that's growing her already, and like even at the end, like at the end of that whole
Pinsak might be here. I'm sorry, I keep hearing knocks. Hey, get in here, man.
Having a puppy. Should I close the puppy out?
Yeah. Say to get out. Just walk in and shut the door. Sorry, we're in the middle of recording right now.
Dude, he looks cool as fuck.
Alright.
I got a light shown in my face right now. That's
Sadie!
So how's it going, Nick? Great.
Amazing!
I was saying, like, you know, at the end of that one scene, like when Tony's like kind of about to die and Nebula puts the blanket over him, like she's shown kindness and she's giving it back. Like that's something she wouldn't have done earlier on in the MCU. Like that's great. It's character development right there. I love it.
Yeah, my biggest I agree with that too, and I think personality wise she's good. The only issue, I don't know, this is one of those things that I know we don't want to go too much into. I think some of the biggest time travel holes come from her. Because, like, why wouldn't she inform the group before they went that Thanos is going to be there the same time they are at one point? Why wouldn't she tell the group ahead of time they were going to have to sacrifice someone for the One Stone? why was the old version of her able to activate the time machine to let Thanos come back in without the stones? Like,
I feel like her telling them about the Soul Stone thing wouldn't have even mattered because someone had to get sacrificed anyway.
Yeah, but there's they could have found something to do with that. I don't know. Like
I feel like the kind of thing honestly I don't even care because Hawkeye and Black Widow's reaction to learning how to get the Soul Stone was heartbreaking, and I would not want to remove that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The reaction was great.
Yeah.
But hold on. Speaking of the time travel thing, when
we're still in Act 1, by the way, so I kind of disagree with us even talking about this right now. But
well, you know, but they're going to come up in conversation, you know? Like, sure. I want to say it while I'm thinking about it. Sure. Like, we're going to be jumping back and forth between the
I just want to stay away from that, too much of that. You know?
But hold on. You guys mentioned earlier the whole time travel thing on how how she was able to transport back to the future and bring Thanos there. How did Thanos manage to get a ship and an entire army through that portal when it was kind of made, I don't know, for you guys, I don't know how you guys interpreted it, but the way I interpreted it was when they went through this portal, they were able to do it because of the suits they were wearing since they were time traveling through the microverse. How did that ship manage to actually get through the microverse in complete and total, you know, one piece, it's there, boom. How
it's one of those things where
I can accept it because of comic book logic, but
I can just say in response to that, like, who cares? We got that final act. So
yeah,
honestly, yeah, comic book logic right there. Who cares? Because we got a great third act out of it. Who cares?
Yeah, like you could say the same thing about the Nebula stuff. It's just like I mean, I don't know, like a thing that doesn't bother someone might bother someone else. It's something that I didn't really care about.
They honestly like that in the end, at the end of the first act when they're getting ready with the time travel stuff. They're even explaining how the MCU does time travel, how it explains it, how they're saying it's not like a lot of the movies, even though they established with the suits and all that. But like, there's just all these unanswered questions in their universe when it comes to time travel that it's just. You don't need an answer. It's just, it is what it is, and you just let it go on the journey that's going to give you. I think that's just really the whole point. Who cares about the science of it all? That's kind of what the whole point of that discussion there was, in my opinion. Because now we're here like talking about it, and again, it's like, who cares? It's really the point.
I mean, I don't know. Like we don't have to go into a big discussion. I just might occasionally point stuff out that I noticed. That just as you know, it's a discussion, but we're also giving our opinions. We have critiques. But anyway, anything else in Act 1 that you want to talk about?
What'd you think of Ant-Man's daughter now being grown up and they're keeping her that way now, as opposed to her? That was
nice. I do like that they're also not like going back on anything. I like their version of time travel because it's like. They're not reversing Infinity War. It's not like that didn't happen anymore, and it's going to have an everlasting consequence. One thing that someone brought up was actually Quentin Reviews, who's been redeeming himself for me a little bit lately. He brought up a point in his review. It was just a joke point, but I think it's hilarious that now, like, the whole rule of age where you can tell how old someone is by the year they were born is only 50% accurate. And I hope, like, in the next Spider-Man movie, they kind of like do something with that, where it's like they acknowledge that half of Peter's class graduated.
Imagine the amount of 17-year-olds who came back from that magic snap, and now
I was thinking that, like, 5 years. The MCU is now in 2024 now, and like. Coincidentally, every single of that main cast for the next movie got dusted and came back. Like, okay, it's hard to believe, but I guess it is what it is. It just happens.
Yeah.
So, on the bright side, though,
I hope they talk about it on Far From Home for sure.
On the bright side, though, Zach, the construction industry in the Marvel universe is going to boom. You know, like they're gonna have so much work, and house cleaners can't.
I don't think that each city will be able to pay for all these construction workers soon. It's gonna be too much.
I don't think
the government's going to go crazy.
Now let's talk about the aftermath of this on how we think it would actually go through. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of a hypothetical here, and I'm having fun now. Now, hypothetically speaking, the United States knows it needs to rebuild its cities. It needs to rebuild pretty much everything, or at least restore it to a livable point for most of the inhabitants who have been now brought back.
Yeah.
So, when we're thinking about how much did the US dollar drop in value in that amount of time, because there was a significantly larger population. What?
I don't think this is the kind of thing we want to talk about right now.
Okay, fine.
Let's talk about the movie.
Are we really half an hour into this podcast?
Hope was a boss.
Maybe.
He was like,
although I might be cutting out the part, if I remember to, the part where you leave. So I don't know. But that didn't even last that long.
Let's keep talking about characters. I like what they did with and the dog. I like what they did with
what? Sorry, wait, you cut off. What?
What they? I like what they do with Ant-Man and his daughter. I just liked Ant-Man in this movie in general. Like I feel like I like that he got a big part because he always felt like a character that to me always felt like a character who was just super disconnected from the cinematic universe. Like he had one movie, a quick appearance in Civil War, doesn't have a sequel till the very end of the
I like what they did
universe.
with him and Captain Marvel in this compared to their own films. Like they felt very, I don't know, important enough. Like even Captain Marvel wasn't even in it as much. Like I've said before, I'm not really a fan of her film as much, but this film it redeemed it a bit.
Captain Marvel is too strong.
Yeah, I agree.
She's the Superman of the Marvel universe.
Way too overpowered, absolutely.
She
punched through a goddamn spaceship by blinking.
I also think that it's like a little. That's Act 3 though. Let's stay.
At the same time, when I saw those scenes in theaters, and even the woman empowerment scene where it was a bit.
Yeah.
It was
all
stupid.
The girls coming together.
At the same time, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Like I was like, oh wow, it's kind of badass. Honestly, I don't
cool.
like I don't like the thought of the idea of doing it, but like. You know what? In the moment, I was like, "This is fine. It looks cool."
Yeah. No, I agree. It was cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just want to bring that.
We want to talk about Act 1, but we're talking about Act 3, and we have been talking about.
Who started with something else? Though? Wait, I started with.
Okay. Like Captain Marvel in the first 20 minutes of the movie, I didn't find her very, very interesting, but I also feel like I don't know. It's fine. Like it's, she's not in a lot of the movie. I almost feel like it's weird that she's on the poster. At least,
she
like,
didn't really need to be there, but as
poster,
someone who saw her own film, like she was, I'm glad she just was there to help and not as much. Bringing down the crew like people thought she was going to. She was respectful. It was good. I don't know. She just felt like a member of the team. Like cool. She wasn't trying to force her way into being the next captain or anything like we all thought it was going to be like. So that's good. Is
there anything else to talk about? Like Black Widow has some cool stuff. Hawkeye, the opening scene with Hawkeye. I had a theory like when I was like thinking about how they're going to open this, and my theory like I had 3 different ideas. One was Hawkeye, which they do.
Yeah. John Campius thought the same thing, like that scene with him teaching his daughter how to shoot an arrow. Like he's like that's going to be the opening of the film right there, and like miraculously there we go. That's what it was.
The other 2 I thought might happen is I thought maybe Ant-Man leaving the Quantum Realm to see what the world's become would be the opening.
Well, if you think about
and then I thought maybe they would do something with Thanos to open it. But what were you going to say?
It makes a lot of sense that they chose the scene with Hawkeye as being their first scene. One, because it's showing, a lot of innocence that this universe has. A lot of, things that we can connect with, This is like... Imagine if your dad was a professional archer. Mm-hmm. You're getting lessons from your dad, then all of a sudden your dad walks away and then everyone's gone. Like, this is something that every man would fear.
The first act, I love how in the beginning of the first act, it's all about losing hope, even after Thanos shows I destroyed the Infinity Stones, and not only that, Thanos cut off his head so he can't even get any more intel about anything. About maybe we could bring it something, but I don't know. But then it's just all hope is lost, and that fast forward into the 5 years is that transition into okay, well, we're gonna find hope now, and Ant-Man coming back, being that glimmer of hope, we might have a chance to save everything now. It's so well put together.
I do find that funny that Ant-Man, again, this character who's always been they even make a joke about it, the underdog of the
I love how
MCU.
I read a comment
the kids not wanting to take a picture with him because no one knows who Ant-Man is, but he's obviously he's not the only reason they got out of it, but if Ant-Man didn't make it out of there, he wouldn't have been able to tell them the stuff, and they wouldn't have been able to save everyone.
I read a comment once.
Do you think they're going to have like a Playgirl billionaire philanthropist version of Iron Man, but now it's his daughter? Just
Probably not.
I was going to say, like, I read a comment like Ant-Man started off working at Baskin-Robbins and now he's a giant man punching one of those flying lizard things in the face. Like, good guy. What? Like, that's character development too right there, not just Nebula. And he's like such a core element in this film too.
Anything else in Act 1 we want to talk about, or should we move to time travel?
Who else? I guess that's it. I mean, now I know what you said earlier about the second act going on for a bit too long. I personally enjoyed a whole lot of it. I thought that it was a very nice trip down nostalgia lane, and it was just, it wasn't meant to be this too important for the film. It was just more of like, it's wrapping a few things up with like Tony and his dad and all that, and like a few other things. Just like it's important to call back in a movie like this that's like ending this CERN saga. It's like the final episode of your favorite show. It's gotta have those final revisits and all that. I was surprised they went back to Thor: The Dark World, which is one of their least appreciated films. And like at the same time, though, I do agree that Thor should have had more closure with his mom, and I'm glad they gave him that. That was really nice.
Yeah.
Frat boy Thor.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that before you came in.
There's this image in our group chat that everyone keeps sending to each other, and me and Austin are the only ones who get the context because none of them have seen the movie except for us. Where it's this picture, and we just keep saying, and Austin just keeps saying it's an Endgame spoiler.
Yeah.
So that should be funny when Stuart's in the theater and finally gets that picture that's literally sent every couple of seconds in our group chat.
I find it. I think it's probably so hard for people that haven't seen Endgame yet to go see the movie now. Not that they won't enjoy, but like the amount of spoilers that like.
Dude, people are assholes. Like, I'm serious. Like, there's all these articles from, like, actual, like, news websites saying, we need to talk about the Black Widow situation, as if, like, that's not spoiling anything at all. Shut the fuck up.
You want to know what happened on the day? Like, I said in my ZiffPod episode 1 thing that I wasn't going to, like, go on Instagram or YouTube, like, on those front pages or whatever, but, like, on the day, I was thinking, like, I gotta listen to some music, I gotta distract myself or something for this wait that until I go out to see the movie. Yeah. And like I go to the YouTube front page, and of course YouTube recommends me this bootleg thing. I don't click on the video, but what I see is Valkyrie and Scarlet Witch in the final act with the title Avengers Assemble. And I'm like, oh, I wonder what scene this is from. Gee, I wonder when this is going to be in the film. Great. It's like, it's not like I knew what the rest of the act was going to look like, but I saw that 1 second of them standing in the same shot, and I'm like, okay. That's great.
People
I knew they were going to be in. I knew the line was going to be said, but it's it's dumb.
My biggest issue with like stuff like that is just like the people who act like they aren't spoiling anything because they're vague about it. But you shouldn't even hint at stuff. I love when we left the theater. This isn't calling him out too hard because no one was. I looked around and no one was around. But Nick did we did walk out of the theater, and Nick was like, "Yeah, I can't believe they killed Tony Stark off," while we were walking out. And I'm like,
my mom said Nick. Something, and she said it quietly. I'm like, you should probably not say anything else while we're like walking through the aisle.
There was like a report, like there was a news story where some guy actually got beaten outside of the movie theater because he walked out saying a spoiler.
So many trailers that are literally called "Don't Spoil the Endgame."
Yeah.
Can you
wait? Somebody got beaten for this?
Yeah, and now to be fair, I don't think they deserve to get beaten, but you are an asshole if you go out to a crowded theater and spoil something to everyone waiting to see it.
So dumb.
That was so ridiculous.
Just do we even need to watch the movie now? Damn, one detail has been spoiled to us out of so much.
Yeah, but that's okay, but that's still unreasonable. You don't want to like
Let's kind of get back to this. What do you think of the 2012 era, the Avengers era, when they went back there?
Some of it was fun to watch. I love the Hail Hydra bit. That's like a reference to like. I loved that. I like
Cap versus Cap was great.
Yeah, that was good, and I liked Hulk interacting, Bruce Banner, Professor Hulk interacting with
have you seen Doctor Strange, the movie?
Nope, but I might.
Oh, you have to. It's great. I'd suggest it. Our favorite actor takes place on it.
Yeah,
I love that. But yeah, I didn't expect Tilda Swinton and Mark Ruffalo to be in the same scene. That was great. That was great seeing them interact that way.
Yeah, and they also allowed Mark Ruffalo to look like himself for a minute. Sure,
it's great that it's great that she had to explain, that the fact that they in the end had to bring the Infinity Stones back to kind of fix some things for those that actually care about the sciencey mumbo jumbo.
Yeah.
But it was kind of cool seeing a scientist, Dr. Bruce Banner, and the Great One just kind of talk about how to fix the time-space continuum from falling apart. It's just something stupid and nerdy. It's great. I don't know. Yeah. It's just two smart people in the MCU that I've never met, and you're finally seeing them interact and talking about something cool. I don't know.
I do like... me and Pinsak were talking about this when we were leaving the theater. In the Avengers movie, Loki doesn't actually get the stone, right? That's them.
What happens here is that there's after Endgame, there's kind of like a few alternate realities, alternate universes that kind of happen here. I feel like Loki, for the Disney Plus show they're going to give him, I feel like it's not going to be in this version of the MCU that's going to be happening from now on. It's like this other reality where what happened and he got away with the Space Stone. That's how they kept him alive. I feel like the Loki that we had is dead, but this is like a different version of him in alternate reality.
I didn't even know they were doing more of the character.
Yeah, they're doing a Disney Plus series with him. And Gamora, when we get to her in the third act, she comes back, but it's not the same Gamora that we know. This is completely
I'm skeptical about
that has not met the new Guardians. I'm fine with it personally.
Yeah.
Because, again, it's not the same Gamora. There's more to do with it. Now with Nebula kind of, having grown and, Gamora being stepped back, them two as sisters are kind of swapped now. It's going to be great to see him in the third movie being now Nebula's got to help Gamora get back on her feet morally. So it's going to be great. I feel like that's great for some fun story. Yeah.
There's going to be some interesting dialogue that comes out of the next 6 months of film from Marvel itself and Disney. Didn't they
say they're taking 2020 off after Far From Home just to work on some stuff for the Phase 4 and for the future of the MCU? Because they said Far From Home was the end of Phase 3.
It's possible they're taking 2020 off.
I don't know what they're going to... I mean...
I think they said that maybe they're doing Black Widow next year. I don't know.
I don't know, but what they said about Spider-Man Far From Home is that one actually is the finale to Phase 3.
I said that,
because it's going to serve as an epilogue.
Yeah.
Wait, for all the heroes or just Spider-Man?
Probably it's going to be a Spider-Man movie. My assumption is Nick Fury is in Spider-Man Far From Home, so my assumption is it's going to be him trying to regroup a new Avengers team. That's what I think they'll probably be doing. Yeah. Because I seriously doubt they're gonna stop making them.
Are they gonna have?
They're gonna build something new up, I would assume.
Also, I kind of just want to say this too. I know we're not even in the third act thing, but the after credits thing. If you even stayed for that, when you heard, the clanging from the first film, I feel like that was a metaphor for they're hard at work on the next phase. That's work in progress. Ding, ding. Mm-hmm. That's what Iron Man was doing in the first movie with ding, ding, working on the suit. Yeah. That's totally a work in progress metaphor for that. I feel like people... Yeah. Also, I want to say quickly a little thing. When we were walking out, there was this dude on his phone, talking to someone man, I just stayed this long and, there's no after credits. This is such a waste of my time. It's dude, you wasted your own time by volunteering yourself to sit through it. The whole credits thing. He's, yelling on the phone, oh, this fucking movie made me waste my time. So stupid.
Yeah,
what a loser.
If you're really going to be there for 3 hours and you have to add an extra 10 minutes, I don't know how that's significant.
Yelling at someone on the phone for your own sitting down through a whole end credit scene. Even if there's no end credit scene, it's your fault for sitting there in the first place, dude. Get a life.
Yeah. I was very happy with it, though. Okay, so let's see. Act 2. Yeah, I don't know. I think the parts that bored me the most was the Guardians of the Galaxy time. Where they went to the first Guardians movie.
Oh, really? That was. I love that line with War Machine reacting to Star-Lord and Nebula just being yeah.
There was little laughs. there was little laughs, but I don't know. I just felt like a lot went on forever. And here's one where I think you two are going to disagree with me.
Oh boy,
a lot. I think Black Widow deserved a better send off than that.
Hawkeye had a family, and Black Widow didn't.
Yeah,
it's like
I like the sentiment
nowhere else for
of
her
it
really
being,
to go other than the prequel.
I love the sentiment of it being those two, you know, because I felt like it was a very good, like they should be in the final scene together for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, them fighting over who gets to commit suicide is like, to me, almost like unintentionally kind of silly.
They were saving each. I mean, as superheroes, they were like, as
part
of the Core 6. Their whole point now is like Black Widow, from where she was to who she is now. She's a superhero now. She's not this assassin anymore. Her whole final scene should be her trying to save someone's life, like back, and even him back and forth, just like that. That's how their relationship. I feel like even like before the first Avengers movie, like all those past missions that they hinted at that they did, like Budapest and whatnot. I feel like their relationship has been like that for many, many years now. It's been a lot like that. It's them saving each other's asses.
Well,
even though we didn't really get that too much on screen, I feel like that's what the relationship was like. I feel like he got.
But another thing about it is this leaves Marvel a whole new can of worms to open, and some new content for us to explore. What was going on with Black Widow, what was going on with Hawkeye. Let's learn a little bit more about them,
like a Netflix or a Disney Plus show.
I think Hawkeye might be getting his own show on Disney Plus, possibly.
Hawkeye,
possibly.
Huh?
I heard something about that.
Well, anyway.
What? They're gonna put an assassin brutally murdering people on Disney Plus?
Well, I mean, yeah, Disney.
I mean, they're doing Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's probably going to be really cool.
Person who committed, who killed half of the world was a Disney character. Like.
I mean, the MCU is owned by Disney, and they have Thor getting beaten by Thanos with blood pouring out of his mouth. I mean,
yeah.
Disney Plus is no exception. It's not Disney Channel.
Sadie.
Borf. What'd you think of, let me try to think, where else did they go? I guess the Thor: The Dark World scene with Rocket and Thor and his mom, what'd you think of that?
That was nice. I mean, it was another... it was nice.
Natalie Portman's cameo of
Thor
2 scenes, no
back.
lines. What'd you think of that?
What?
Natalie Portman's 2 scenes with no dialogue. She came back just for those.
Yeah.
And she was at the premiere, I heard, too. That was nice of her to do. Even though she said she didn't want to be in the movies anymore, it was still nice of her to just come back and do that cameo. Like, yeah, I got this afternoon available. I'll come and do that.
I like that. I like the talk with his mom. I like him getting his old hammer back.
The talk of his mom?
The talk with his mom.
Oh my god. I thought you said like the top of his mom. Like either you're a fashionista or you're just gazing at her breasts. I don't know. Just thinking two things.
No. And then the other one
Let me tell you what I was gazing at that whole time. That sweet beer gut Thor was rocking.
All right. And I liked, like I said, I liked the hammer too. Like him getting his old hammer back. Stealing it from the old Thor.
I think Captain America brought that back at the end, right? Along with the stones. Kind of needed to go back to 2014, 2013.
Yeah.
I forget if I saw Captain with the Mjolnir or not, but IDK.
I don't remember. Yeah. And the only other thing is they travel back in time to like Captain America. Like I don't know.
I love that.
Yeah, the 70s.
Love that.
Then we get a nice Stan Lee cameo, final one.
What'd you think of the cameo itself? I feel like it should have been something like the the Spider-Verse cameo with that, something like a line like that. That was great. This one line.
I feel like the Spider-Verse cameo
even
was
for an Endgame
nice
cameo. Like, come on, this is the
Well, I think they just did what they had of him. That's what they recorded.
He was alive when he filmed it, though. I feel like, I don't know, for a cameo like that, it should have been a different line or something.
Yeah, I don't know. They probably
it's like his character yelling at someone about something. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. Like, I mean, it wasn't a great appearance from him, but
I still consider the Spider-Verse cameo the final cameo from him. Like the best.
It feels like the final one. Yeah.
Well, no, I thought the cameo was actually. If you think about how Stan Lee was as a person,
okay,
and his life, maybe they're trying to say like his heart is still back in the '70s when he made this, and it could have actually been for a reason that they chose Captain America.
I'm going by his line, not the.
I think it was just pre-recorded. I mean, yeah, it was just recorded before his death. I don't think. I mean, if you see it that way, that's cool.
Well, think about it. Captain America was one of the first superheroes in the MCU.
In the film franchise.
The Marvel comics weren't made in the 70s, right? They were made beforehand.
Probably. I don't know when they came out.
I don't know. I was going to say if they were made in the 70s and like they went back to the time when the comics were made, that would have been a cool little Easter egg, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked like Tony talking to his dad, which I don't think we ever got in the MCU. Like we got a little hologram scene in Civil War, but like it wasn't like an actual dialogue or something. Like before Tony dies at the end of the movie, like we get this kind of final goodbye to his dad. And, I don't know, an actual talk and like understanding his dad a bit more by the end of that talk. I don't know, it was great. And that little Ant-Man helmet, the OG Ant-Man helmet, and that in the lab, it was great. Michael Douglas's cameo was cool. Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, it was good. It was cool.
I also really like the foreshadowing of Captain America's end, like just him seeing Peggy and like kind of saying like, okay, I want this, and like by the end of the film, it's like he has this opportunity. He knows exactly what time period he has to go back to in order for him to like the last time period for him to drop off the stone. The last stone he has to drop off was probably in the 70s, and then after that, he just kind of like, okay, gonna wrap it up here. And like,
it was in the 70s. Remember, Tony and Captain America broke into the facility to steal the Tesseract.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? That was probably the last place that he went, and then he stayed there.
That's what I just said, Nick. Good job.
You know what? Fuck you too.
Then, okay, you want to go to Act 3 now?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I personally liked Act 2.
Yeah, I mean, Act 2 I just feel like it lasted too long.
No, wait, Act 3 had some more momentum to it. It was more action-y, yes, but it had a lot of momentum, and it kind of really developed everything that was building up from the first two acts.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. What's
that's what Act 3 does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just explaining what acts do.
Yeah. Act 3 was definitely.
What'd you think of like the unexpected, like it's 2014 Thanos as the main villain at the end of it?
I think Thanos is less interested in this one than he is in the first one.
Mm.
And it's because like now he's fighting against people that he doesn't have a history with. He's less experienced. And I mean, honest to God, I think the Thanos at the beginning of the movie is more interesting than the 2014 one. It's still satisfying to see the action scenes with him. It's still really cool. And I think his death is the most satisfying thing I've seen in a while. Like, I feel
like that last scene with him putting his head down was like him being like, I never got to do this and this and that. But like, yet, it's like he doesn't even know that in another reality, like, well, he kind of did, but he never got to experience that version of himself.
There's the one Thanos getting his head cut off got the more satisfying ending, honestly, because he accepted his death and he got to live in the reality where he won.
And honestly, like, I mean, in combat, like Thanos, even 2014 Thanos was like, even without the Infinity Stones, he was still a match for all the Avengers.
Oh yeah, no, he was still very, very hard to defeat, and I don't think he was awful, and I still enjoyed seeing him, but I definitely think he's more of a character in Infinity War than he is in this one.
He was more of a character in Infinity War because they really showed him building himself up, you know?
Yeah.
It was Thanos' film in Infinity War, yeah.
Yeah.
Most of Thanos.
Yeah.
That movie was about Thanos.
Yeah.
It was Thanos rising to power and becoming an unstoppable force.
I don't really think it's even like a negative about this film that Thanos is this way. It is what it is. Like, he's not really the point of the film anyway, this one.
I don't take huge issue with it. I was fine with it because I do agree Infinity War is more about him while this one's Avengers. But I definitely feel like he felt a lot more threatening to me and a lot more like a character to me in the first one. But
I think that's because
in the first one you saw Thanos become an indestructible power.
I was gonna say, like, I feel like it's because we know this one's gonna be the final film, and I feel like it's predictable enough that we know the good guys are going to win in the end. Of course, not everyone might not live, but like we know that Thanos will die in this film. And Infinity War was, you know, with an ending like that and leading up to everything, like him constantly winning, constantly getting the Infinity Stones, and everyone just like being like, oh, okay, it's Doctor Strange. Okay, here you go. Like, just all these things that made it more threatening, of course. And that was the point of Infinity War. And here it's, you know, that's not the point. The point is like the good guys should win and, you know, all that stuff. But he's there to be the antagonist. That's what it's supposed to be doing. And again, threatening in combat, he's terrifying in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
he's still great.
I still enjoyed
a different kind of great.
I still enjoyed him. I just it was I didn't think it like hit as strong as this one, but again, like I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I love the way that they bring everyone back. Not like, and I'm talking about like when they first do the snap. I like how the way that you know it worked is like Ant-Man notices that there's more birds outside, like there's more life outside. The world just feels alive again. And then Hawkeye gets a phone call from his wife, and I like how from that then it like it completely doesn't focus on that for like 20 minutes as like Thanos comes in and like this battle's starting to happen with all these characters, and it's just Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man on their own for a bit.
I love how Professor Hulk is the one to snap his fingers. Like I feel like he's the heart of the team out of all of them. And like just
in this movie,
for people that complain that he didn't do much in the battle and all that's like I agree with that, but at least he was the one to bring everyone back. Like that's great. I feel like he did so much, and like
it makes the most sense that it wouldn't like where it would kill Tony, it wouldn't kill him.
The gamma and everything. Also, I really love how the final battle took place upon the ruins of the Avengers headquarters.
Yeah,
that was amazing. I thought it was going to be on another planet or something. We all did. The fact that it's on the Avengers headquarters and it became that way because of Thanos just 9/11ing it. I couldn't think of another way to label that. Sorry, but man, it was great.
It was brutal, and then the way, of course, that all the Avengers come back in to fight is a really awesome scene.
Yeah, the music
this was
that builds
rowdy.
Up. Oh, I love everything
this
from
was
like
a rowdy crowd we saw it with.
Oh yeah,
and I normally am annoyed by that, but honestly, I didn't really mind it here. People were cheering.
For mine, it was at times, but it wasn't like long. It was like just enough where it's good audience.
Yeah. I don't think anyone in my audience too far, and oh man, it's so cool. I looked up to see if the like original soundtrack was up yet, because I wanted to listen to that music where they all come back, and it's up, and it's on Google Play, so I just added it to my playlist. Yeah,
that's it, that line when Falcon just says "on your left," that callback to Winter Soldier, and then just everything happening, and oh god, Falcon just coming out and all this boom, 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 and just the Doctor Strange people. I don't know if you saw like the scene when the Wasp comes up, and behind her there's some people from like the Guardians in the Galaxy worlds, like some aliens coming out of the portal, like just everyone, like even as Guardians are coming out.
You get to see all these different backgrounds. You see Wakanda, you see the planet that they were on.
Everything just comes together in this final act, dude. So good. There's so many lines too. Like, for people that like need to see all the films to know these little things, like Civil War's callback with like Black Panther knowing Hawkeye's name, Clint's, like just in Civil War being like, I don't care, like to his name, and then hey Clint, give me the Infinity Gauntlet. Like that's sweet. He knows his name. He remembered. And then like another thing with like the Wasp calling Cap. And if you saw Ant-Man, the Wasp, like Ant-Man calls him Cap, and the Wasp is like, you know, that's weird, whatever. And then
I actually did see that clip. I never saw Ant-Man vs. the Wasp, but I did funny enough see that clip.
Yeah, maybe it was in the trailers. I don't know, but
it
was nice. It was a lot of, and of Spider-Man's kill mode or something like callback things that I feel like they just set those lines up in those independent films, and at the time I didn't really care much for them, but yeah, I feel like maybe they did those on purpose to lead up to like the final battle in Endgame or something, being like, oh, there you go.
You were about to say
the best one
something.
being the Age of Ultron callback.
I don't think it was anything important. I have no input.
If you have anything, shout it out. We have to talk over each other sometimes when we record these. So, yeah, the Age of Ultron callback, as I said, to me made it feel like Age of Ultron is worth it now.
What other Easter eggs were in that final battle?
Probably a lot.
There's a lot of good ones, man. They were great.
Captain Marvel, we talked about it before. I just want to talk about her like bit in the final. Like, I get her being there. I think that it makes sense for her to be there in that final fight. But like, my only issue with that is it seems like they kind of make her indestructible, except when they don't want her to be. Mm-hmm. Like Thanos punches her in the face, and she has zero reaction to it. She destroys this huge ship. And like she's just so powerful, the most powerful being in this universe. But then there's a part where they don't want her to be the one who stops it. They want Tony to be. So he actually does successfully push her away. And I'm like, okay, well, this is a little forced. But
at the same time, Tony is the one who made the gauntlet and knows how to take the Infinity Stones off and put it on his own hand.
It's It's did she get the gauntlet off temporarily and then he just got it back? How'd that work?
She had it with her. Then Thanos got it back. He pushed her away. He puts it on. He glows, and then Captain Marvel comes back.
How long did she have it before she got pushed away?
I don't know. Peter gave it to her, and during the woman empowerment scene, she just goes off flying, and Thanos then gets to her.
She probably should have just like blasted off.
No, she was running toward the car with the quantum realm stuff, and Thanos destroyed it right before she entered it or threw the gauntlet in it. So she was trying to do something with it, but at the very last second.
Yeah. And then anyway,
but yeah, I feel like it's going to cause some problems in her future appearances in the MCU for sure. Her like the kinds of villains that she'll go up against. Like
I think the biggest problem with the future of the MCU that they got to be careful with is now time travel is a thing that can happen. So now you're going to have any movie where you're going to just ask the question, okay, why not fix this problem with time travel?
Well, first of all, Tony didn't make that whole machine, and he's dead now, and I don't think anyone could really replicate what he did.
Well, they used it in the final scene. When Steve Rogers goes back.
Right, okay, true.
So they just got they can do something, but they got to be careful. It's not a critique because they haven't done anything yet. It's just they now live in a world where time travel can happen, so they got to be careful with that. One movie's okay, an entire franchise.
Although the great 1AK Tilda Swinton did tell Bruce, and I'm sure Bruce told everyone else that whatever you do need to make sure that whatever things you take out from the past, you got to put back in place anyway. So I feel like the good guys being the good guys, I don't think they'll take advantage of time travel. I really don't. They just gotta be very careful with that because honestly, I wouldn't imagine you wanting to do more stuff with time travel in this series. Like Endgame is the time travel movie, you know. Yeah. If a big bad guy's about to destroy the world in one movie like Spider-Man, Captain Marvel, I doubt any of them are gonna say, "Hey, let's use that time travel machine we have," because again, the reason I just said, whatever you do is gonna cause some consequences, I'm sure, and they know that. I'm sure they're aware. Yeah, they're responsible. That's why they're the main heroes. There was a point that you mentioned when we were leaving the theater that you really loved. You remember which part I'm talking about? It involved Doctor Strange. I want to give you an opportunity to talk about it if you remember it. If not, I'll talk about it.
Oh, you mean how certain and sure they were about about how much faith they really showed in Doctor Strange. Like when she gave the Hulk the Time Stone, as soon as he mentioned Doctor Strange, she was instantly like, "I'm on the page with it. Here you go, bring it back." That
actually wasn't, but that is a cool moment. I'm actually talking about in the final fight with Tony Stark and Doctor Strange. You mentioned the part that you said they gave you the most chills in the movie. I think. Which part? The one before when he talks to him earlier on, or the one where he's holding up the finger, telling him
when he holds up the one finger, and it's just like you could just see the conversation they had between their eyes in that split second.
I think Tony knew then he's gonna die, and Doctor Strange was like, "I'm sorry, this is gonna happen, but." It's for everyone. I didn't even read it that way. I read it as just holds up he holds up one finger. I read it afterwards. There's clips on YouTube that I watched after the movie, all these bootlegged versions, and there's so many clips I've been rewatching back, by the way, from the third act, and that one scene is for sure. Because everyone's recorded them with their phone. They're everywhere. Which, by the way, this is a kind of movie, by the way, that I really gotta watch it a second or third time to make sure I got everything, because I feel like there's only a first viewing is not enough. There's some things we probably missed.
All of the movies, so I haven't watched all the movies, so I'm kind of tempted to just go through and watch every single one of them now. Like, treat it like a TV show, basically, where every episode's.
I was watching a stream before when they were talking about this. I mentioned this earlier too, but they were saying like they're probably going to do a box set soon, maybe during Christmas time, when they have all the films leading up to Endgame, from Iron Man to Endgame, just in one box set. And like it could probably have like, it could be like a gauntlet. You pull out the fingers, and each gauntlet has like a CD or something for like a few movies. That'd be great. Even though like physical media is like dying a bit, it's not died yet. You know, that's a direct line from John Campea.
They gotta be, Marvel's got to be careful now, though, because now they're made it to a point where, like, you could very easily say Endgame and Infinity War is a peak, and they gotta know what they're doing if they're gonna. They really need to have a good plan if they're gonna keep the cinematic universe going.
They confirmed they're not jumping into X-Men or Fantastic Four. They're gonna plan it out. Honestly, I would love for them to hint little by little, maybe introduce 1 or 2 X-Men during some MCU films, not anytime soon, of course, but like at some point, and then lead up to like the Avengers versus the X-Men as a movie.
I wonder what Deadpool's future is now, because he's a Disney property.
They said that they're not gonna touch Deadpool's tone or anything. It's gonna be the way it is. I don't think they even said he's gonna be in the MCU. He's still gonna do his own thing. They're keeping it what it is, because they know it's like, they even said, Kevin Feige said like that line, that quote, if something's already good, don't change it. It doesn't need to be changed, something like that, you know. They know. It's people love it and they don't want to change it, and they're not gonna try to make it.
I just hope they don't go for PG-13, you know.
They're not. They already said they're not. They're keeping it same rating, same tone.
They might. This is Disney. Like,
they might what?
They might go for PG-13
for Deadpool. No, they have confirmed they didn't.
Okay, well,
Kevin
if
Feige
they're giving their word,
I'll the same. Yeah, it's just not owned by Fox anymore.
For now, it's just Disney's company. I'm gonna do this new. There's this new segment we're gonna do on DuckCast, by the way. Or I'm trying to unlock this lock. I'm at 160 now. We're gonna.
You want to talk about Tony's death, by the way?
Yeah, while I do this, I saw it coming, but I saw. Here's the thing.
Okay, sorry.
I saw Steve Rogers and Tony Stark. This was going to be their last movie, so I assumed they were going to die or they were going to give some sort of conclusion. So, like, I saw his death coming, but at the same time, it's like, it's still a really weird and surreal thing to see, because it's like, it's still hard to believe it, you know? Like, he's been such a big character in this.
Black Widow scene, for some reason, I didn't get that much of an emotional reaction out of, even though it was sad to see her go, for sure. When Iron Man died, when Tony Stark is like sitting back against the thing, and everyone's crowding around and all the important people that he cares about, that one scene, I was literally crying. I was actually tearing up. I was trying to hold back, and then I'm just like, okay, tears.
People in the theater were sobbing. Do you remember hearing them, Nick?
Yes.
I remember during the funeral scene, I was trying so hard, like rubbing my eyes, because my eyes were so blurry, I couldn't see what was on the screen, the funeral scene, because my eyes were just so teary. I was like thinking, like, man, I saw the first Iron Man film when I was in 8th grade. I was in middle school. This is like my second dad, and he's dead. This is so surreal. It was crazy.
This is like my second dad, and
and dude, when Gwyneth Paltrow kisses him and he's dead, and his mouth is just open, like oh my god, it's such a terrible looking shot, and it's like but it's great. It's so good, so good. The funeral was great.
I like
too.
the
everything.
Proof that Tony Stark has a heart.
Yeah. I love that final shot when it goes to his chest.
Damn well know it.
I love that final shot when it goes to his chest and the light goes out.
Yeah.
That was so good.
I like at the funeral scene. I don't know what you two think of this, because I actually looked this up because it actually bothered the hell out of me.
Oh, the kid?
There's that one kid. Yeah, like, well, who the hell is this?
He's from Iron Man 3. He's the little kid, yeah.
Yeah, I looked it up. Do you remember that, Nick? Seeing like some random teenager there?
Yeah, the random
I'm surprised
guy.
I didn't get that at first either.
Yeah, no, it's some kid. It's some kid who was in Iron Man 3. Like, he was a character in Iron Man 3, and they brought him back for the funeral.
Oh, you mean the kid in the back in the corner?
It's the same actor too. He's just taller and grown up.
And then I guess Nick Fury gets his 5 seconds in the film, which I was a little I guess that's a fine.
Of course, he was gonna be in this. Come on.
Oh, I of course he was gonna be in it.
Of course, not a line, but like even
I almost wish
even Mantis and Drax didn't really have any lines. They were just there to be a part of it.
I guess it doesn't make sense for him to be in the battle scene.
Yeah, they're just.
What? By the way, why wasn't Ant-Man at the funeral? Like the Guardians of the Galaxy were there.
He was with the Wasp and the Wasp's parents, Michael Douglas and Michelle Pfeiffer.
I don't remember.
There was a whole shot of just the four of them.
Damn, how did I miss that?
Yeah.
No, dude, they panned by him.
I remember
on the left there.
I must have zoned out for a second. I remember like looking and saying, "Oh, did they not show up to the funeral?"
They were like on the left of Doctor Strange there. Yeah.
You know what? Like, is one thing though I gotta say that like one of the downsides of there being so many characters in this movie is there's just some reactions you're not going to get as a result. Like, because I mean, again, like the movie wasn't about him at all, so I really don't take a big issue with this. It's just it may have been nice for a Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Peter Quill's back on Earth and he doesn't respond to it.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking that could have been a nice moment, you know. Like
I think that's more of like a little. Could you label as an Easter egg kind of thing, being like kind of like the Captain America off camera talking to Red Skull, which kind of pisses me off a little bit. But like just things that you know should have been on camera. Yeah, you know.
Oh nice. Yeah, like Captain America doesn't figure out.
He goes back to give the Soul Stone back to the dude. Yeah, I mean that's a big thing.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder how our buddy Hail Hydra feels about the Hail Hydra scene.
We're going way over time here, so let's just maybe get to Captain America's death. What'd you think of that? That was unexpected for me.
Technically
but it was
not
nice.
Dead yet. Technically not dead. They could do something with the old.
He's 90-something now. I think it's pretty much hinted
his
that
shield on. Wait, but how did he get his shield?
He probably made a new one or something, or talked to
Tony
Howard Stark
Stark gave him a new one. Oh, but yeah, that's right. He got destroyed.
This is a new alternate.
The one from the past.
This is a new alternate reality. Remember that.
Yeah, that is a plot hole. I don't
think of like other time travel movies and those rules applying to the MCU. Get that out of your head. It's not like that. Alternate reality.
Well, no, they said that like if he went back to the past, it wouldn't be that reality anymore.
Yeah, he was in the reality at the end of it when he was old. So
yeah, so it's a whole. It's not really one that bothers me because it's still a very satisfying ending for him. I think it would have made more sense if he just appeared back on that machine as an old man. But I understand that it's more cinematic to have him off in the distance.
Why would he come back as an old man? I feel like he had to live his life, and just him as an old man. Now, okay, now I'm gonna go back and.
Well, it just makes sense that way. I guess it would just be to give them assurance that the mission was a success, so they don't freak out. Because for him, it's been his whole life. For them, it's been a couple of seconds.
Well, he kind of did. I showed that already. Like he was there on the bench, and he knew he got back there at the right time that Bucky would see him. I mean, pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, but it's just it doesn't fit what they said. The logic they set up for time travel.
Gotcha.
Which I mean, again, I didn't like. That's not something I look at and like say, okay, so this is a 0 out of 10 now. You know,
but do you think that his ending was very rewarding, like him getting back with Peggy?
I feel like that was a good ending for his character. I feel like that's a good ending to the series, honestly. Just the two of them dancing.
And like, what one of you two said something about like him possibly coming back to do more. Like, I feel Chris Evans.
No, not Chris Evans, but like saying like the character's not dead, so you could almost do something like they did with Carter at the beginning of like.
I hear you.
Winter Soldier, that's the one where they showed her as an old woman, right?
Yeah. I can see it as like a cameo. As anything more than that, like I don't even want him to like have any like important speaking lines to the main character. I don't know, maybe. It's like
we made it to 200.
I feel like it's pointless to bring him back. I don't know. For anything. Like he's just done.
Yeah, I'm okay if they don't bring him back. I'm just saying he's not dead, technically. Yeah. But he's definitely close. Death is close. Death comes sooner than you think.
I feel like maybe he visited them right before his death or something. Like, maybe in that week he just died, but he lived a good life, so it's like bittersweet.
But it's a really weird alternate reality if you think about it, considering now Captain America was there and an old man through all of it.
Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't really make sense, but it's just something you gotta decide, can you forgive it or can you not? And I can forgive it.
Yeah.
I can't.
Nick doesn't forgive.
I do forget.
Now think about this. Years before he kissed his now wife's niece in Civil War, and now he married her aunt by going back in the past and marrying her aunt.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Does that mean?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's some hardcore incest. Not even Game of Thrones.
I mean, it's not blood related or anything, but it is pretty weird. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not blood related. Is it though?
Yeah, it's a great thought. You're welcome.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you can think about with the logic of this film, and like there's a lot of problems because they did it about time travel.
But again, it's time travel. It's all over the place. That's great. We get to just BS and talk about this and not take it seriously, hopefully.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, that's why I'm saying I don't think it's a bad movie.
The only thing is the Spider-Man kids. That's the only thing
That's another thing though. Like I never said I think it's a bad movie because I said it's like fun to point these things out. I do think it's fun to point stuff out like that.
Yeah.
It's fun to make fun of, or just fun to like say, "Hey, yeah, this is a little mistake." Because time, be fair, like I don't think anyone. I've heard some people that say like list very like. I remember someone telling me that there's like one example of a good time travel movie that I haven't even seen where they said there's no like loopholes, like there's no plot holes or anything. Time travel is to me just a guaranteed hole if you do it. Like, there's going to be something wrong with it. You just have to be like a Marvel movie's perfect for time travel because Marvel is, very cartoony, very like comic book like, obviously.
I love how things like this and Doctor Strange are now kind of peering into like more complex kind of scenarios for like future MCU films, like not only time travel but like Doctor Strange's alternate universes kind of stuff going on. Like hopefully we're gonna see more of that. And even Endgame had multiple universes kind of thing going on too with that. So it's great. Yeah. Anyway, so we're definitely way over time here. We're almost at an hour and 20.
Do we all want to rate it? Do we all have a rating in mind?
I really don't know. I maybe 8 out of 10.
I think I'd do it a 7 out of 10.
I was actually thinking 8 out of 10.
There you go.
There are some problems with it. It's not perfect.
For sure. But I mean, I did really like it. I mean,
the third act by itself.
Yeah, that was like
the
such
final
a
hour.
Like, that was just like a magical moment.
I texted you. It's straight up porn, but it's
it's
11-year
wait for porn, but it was worth it. It's so good.
It's
an 11-year wait.
I felt like a child seeing that. Like I don't even feel like I got that from like Infinity War as much. I think Infinity War is a better movie.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't feel like
from beginning to end it's entertaining. Like from here it's like there's some jaggy moments, there's some bumpy moments, there's some things that are a bit questionable, like Thor and Hulk being again, me having a bit of mixed reactions for the first act, having some jokes that like okay, maybe a little too many jokes here. In your opinion, the second act went on for a bit too long. The nostalgia trip, it's like little things. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, really, if I rewatch the movie though, I feel like I could watch the whole thing again. It's not like I told Nick when we were at the theater, like during the credits, like while we were waiting for a post-credit scene. Here's the thing: I heard online, like one thing that I saw in an article, like it said that Endgame doesn't have a post-credit scene, but there is something at the end. So I was just thinking, I actually told Nick this at the theater too. I was like, okay, so I think that means it's going to be like a Stan Lee tribute or something.
But it wasn't.
Now that you say that, I feel like they should have done that.
Yeah. And then we waited and we just heard the metal tapping, and I just funny, like there were a couple people in our theater who actually didn't start calling someone and yelling, but they got angry. Like I heard vividly angry people about that. But I mean,
you did this on yourself, idiot.
Laughed. I just kind of laughed at it. I thought it was funny that they couldn't do anything else.
Okay. I like, as very small as it is, that banging is just a great work in progress metaphor to me, and I love that. It's just a nice little nod. We're working on it.
The credits of all the signatures is cool too.
I love that. That was so nice.
What does the banging mean? I mean, that could be interpreted many ways.
They're working on the future of the MCU.
That is how I looked at it.
They're taking their time with it. Again, if the 2020 thing is true, that they're taking their time off next year for it, not doing any movies.
ad ever.
I was saying, like, if they're taking their time off next year to do their movies, if that's confirmed, you know, it's a perfect way to see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Taking their time with it.
Yeah, no, and I hope they do, and you know, I'm okay with calling Endgame the end. I am kind of curious about the next Spider-Man. I might see that, but
I'm going to see the next Spider-Man, dude. It's Spider-Man.
Yeah,
I do like.
I love what they did with Mysterio. It's so beautiful. It's so comic booky.
One more thing I want to comment on, just because I really like this moment, is God dang. Okay, gosh darn.
Gosh darn.
Oh heck.
Oh dang!
DuckCast is
really like the
PG
scene at the
podcast,
end, like when it's like the big epilogue. You have Tony Stark's speech.
Yeah.
I like the little shot of Peter looking around the school and him and his friend kind of like meeting up in their They're just both so happy to see that they're both still the same age.
When I first saw that, I was thinking Ned knew that Peter was close to Tony, and like he's like sad that Tony's gone. Yeah. But like then I thought, oh, it's because Peter was dusted and Ned didn't get dusted. But now with this whole Far From Home thing with time travel, it's like, oh, maybe they both got dusted and they knew that they both got dusted, and it's like, oh, you're alive. Oh my god.
I think it's just like pure relief. They're there, like Peter's looking around. He doesn't recognize these kids because it's not his class anymore. Because half of them got dusted.
I love that his eyes were.
And then Nick, his best friend, got dusted with him. So there's not an age gap. Both of them were looking for each other, hoping that they'd be there. You know.
Oh man.
I just wonder if
explanation
MJ
of that, actually. I didn't think of that.
MJ.
No, that was a really good explanation. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, no, I think
that's actually. Oh.
It's touching.
That hurts.
Now, in terms of the Spider-Man universe for their next movie, Mary Jane must have been dusted. You're gonna tell me that she wasn't dusted? What the fuck?
Did you guys hear of the rumor about Mary Jane? By the way.
Let's hear it.
Mary Jane in this universe might be Nick Fury's daughter. It's a rumor right now going around.
Interesting.
What?
Because they're both black.
She's played by Zendaya.
Because they're both black? Now that is some racist shit right there.
That's what some people are saying. On
really? Wait, what?
No, it's a rumor right now going around that
it's racist though because of that?
People are saying because they're both black. It's, you know, like because they're both like that. It's like they're saying it's because it's lazy. That's why they're saying it. But
laziness I could agree with, but racist? Come on. that's not
I don't
racist.
think MJ's going to be Nick Fury's daughter because, well, what?
What they do though?
Well, they changed things up.
Why not?
Because now 2 times in a row, Peter Parker in the MCU will have daddy issues with his girlfriend. So twice now.
She just like walks up to Peter one day. Oh yeah, I know you're Spider-Man. Why we talk about it all the time.
Actually, that would make that line at the end of Homecoming, like, "Where are you going, Peter?" Like very foreshadowing of that. Honestly.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, I think Spider-Verse is going to be super hard for them to beat. In fact, they're just not going to. But I'll watch it.
Yeah. Wait. Are you telling me
I don't expect anything.
Spider-Verse for you?
I don't expect the MCU Spider-Man movies to ever beat like the original Sam Raimi trilogy or anything, but they're still Spider-Man films at the end of the day, and they're introducing more villains I've wanted to see in live action, like Mysterio. So I'm happy.
Favorite thing about the films, because I think presentation-wise, Sam Raimi and Spider-Verse, for that matter, do a way better job than the Marvel Cinematic Universe, just with the presentation of it. Like the Sam Raimi movies feel like a comic book, you know, like they're really enjoyable for that. Even though some of the stuff's dated, it's still like they're admirable. While Homecoming's just not really trying anything that crazy. But Tom Holland is a great Spider-Man, I think. Yeah. Like I just think he's just really good for the character.
The only thing is I feel like compared to like I've seen a lot of gameplay of like the PS4 version of Spider-Man, the PS game of Spider-Man, and the character's like way more. He's just way more comedic in that one. His delivery is always perfect. I don't know if it has something to do with Tom Holland's voice or anything. That just doesn't work for me. I still love Tom Holland as Spider-Man, but like there's just the one thing off with his voice, and like his delivery is always a bit too Disney for me.
I do think my favorites, though, like honestly, of all the interpretations I've seen, I think like Miles and the older divorced Spider-Man are my favorite.
Spider-Verse Spider-Man was like close to a good Spider-Man too.
Yeah, I liked that a lot.
Wait, so I have a question.
Yeah.
Isn't in the Marvel universe, right?
Okay.
We have residing in there the world of X-Men as well, correct?
In the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Yes.
Not yet.
They
don't know how they're going to go about that. If it's going to be
no.
like alternate universes combining or something.
Because
Magneto has this whole past of him in the 70s, during World War II, having his past happen during then. And it's like, they have to explain that. Mutants being around for this long and no one knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they'll figure it out. I don't know what they'll do either, but they'll figure it out.
Fantastic Four is a lot easier to introduce, but with the past live action movies that they've done, they've got to do it right for sure. It's not like it's the first time we're seeing them live action, so
yeah.
Hopefully we'll see the Fantastic Four do them justice.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
If Captain America was still around, it would have been great to have Captain America talking to the new Human Torch, being like, "Hey,
we got the new Captain America now."
Just as a callback, like Chris Evans played Human Torch. Anyway, let's end this.
Yeah, let's end it. That's all I have to say. We already ended.
Behead it.
Thanks, Nick, for coming on. Sorry, I know Mike probably did that thing just to end the episode, and I apologize. Now I'm continuing it, but thanks, Nick, for coming on the show. It's great.
Just repeat it. Just repeat it at the end, or do that. Use that. Repeat both me and Nick's noises at the end.
Do it, you bitch. You won't.